All right. Welcome to the good stuff. This is the big episode 62. Got a guest around the campfire with us today is Yo from Sovereign Engineering.
Hey
Hey,
guys,
Yo.
good to be here.
How you doing?
All good over here. How are you
All
guys doing?
right. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Start of the week, so it's always nice to kick off a new work week and get stuck into stuff, apparently. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so what I figured we'd talk about today is a big deal for me last year was going over to the sovereign engineering cohort, like SECO 5, YOLO mode, I believe it was called at the time, which was all exploring like how you could use AI for building like freedom tech on Nostr and Bitcoin and stuff like this, and it was amazing. Uh, I know you've got another one coming up, which I don't think I'm going to be able to make, which is unfortunate. But I thought we should get you on and just have a chat about how things are developing, like how you see AI getting used in this space. So how's it been? How is the lovely island of Madeira since I was last there?
Uh, the lovely island of Madeira is very beautiful, and this time it's gonna be around summer, so it's gonna
Yeah.
be extra special. We have very good weather and lots of good food and ponchas to have good conversations around. Right, that's always good. And as far as YOLO and AI stuff is going, it's going pretty well actually. Though we are kind of like the whole thing about AI at software engineering started in SECO 4 when
Mhm.
Paul did a 30-minute incredible demo of a wallet that Kale was trying to make, where he just wiped it into existence while he was giving a talk. And everybody was blown away by this capability. And so we decided to do YOLO mode as Seco
Mhm.
5, where we explored AI and building freedom tech and just exploring the capabilities, which was amazing. Back then, we didn't have Opus, we didn't have all these amazing models, but still, it was really good to explore, especially considering our format where we do a lot of experimentation and it's all about like what can we do and what's a good idea and demoing a prototype, which is what these AI models are good for.
Mhm.
And so we thought might as well do another one a year after as a review sort of a thing, and also kind of see where the technology is at, where's freedom tech at, how people are using it. Uh, you know,
Yeah,
yeah,
nice. So I think when I went there, I was number 5 then, which was deliberately AI focused, as
yeah,
you say. Now the before, like I found I was a bit nervous about it, like going into it, because I'm not like traditionally like a developer. I come more from like a product background, a bit of architecture, and it was the idea that I had to like deliver a new product like demo every week. Was that was there was a bit of impending dread around that. Was that the case like from in the first 4 cohorts as well, or was that new with AI coming in?
the first three cohorts, actually, by the fourth cohort, there was a bit of AI being used, but not much. So the first four cohorts, people were actually building by hand, writing
Hmm.
code for every demo, new project, or at least materially bettering their projects, even if it was the same project,
Yeah.
uh, which was extremely intense. You can only imagine like having to write a new entire new project from day one,
Hmm.
from everything by hand, on a new idea, how it's going to work, debugging it within the week. Uh, that is very hard, which is what
Hmm.
AI really helped solve and help people like you and like me, for
Hmm.
example. Like I left coding a long time back. It's like there's no hope if I am to come back to programming by hand. I'm not going to
Hmm.
produce anything. So yeah, it's been great for this
I
stuff.
think that was the thing with AI is I sort of got myself back up to speed coding by hand, and
Yeah.
then almost instantly stopped. like as soon
Yeah.
as I could do it again. But it was like it was good to get that refresher
Yeah.
inside there. But okay, and then the number five cohort was deliberately AI, and then you've had two since then, right? You had six and seven that were
Yeah.
on like Nostr signers and FIPS as being like a new internet
Yeah.
sort of architecture. Like, did it get did the theme continue of people just gone sort of vibe first in these cohorts, or are people going back to coding by hand in those more traditional spaces?
AI has definitely been a central toolkit tool in our toolkit. It is how all the demos and prototyping is actually led by. And I do see there are a few people who still code by hand largely, but use AI for a lot of things. Not AI first in that sense, though. Even them, they are using AI as a primary tool to experiment with the new ideas. So AI is definitely like the central piece of our tool system, and every single project pretty much is using AI in some form or the other. Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Do you
Though
reckon
you can,
do, go on?
sorry, but just to mention, as much as we use AI, there's a lot of limitations, right? So especially when you're doing like cryptography stuff, it's really fucks up over there. Yeah, like really badly. It always wants to do its own cryptography and you have to keep telling it like, no, we are not writing our own cryptography. So yeah, there's that you
That's.
have to guide it still, you know.
I remember like being in the tropical gardens in Madeira. Like sort of my family were over visiting. I was wandering around. I was trying to do stuff on my phone with Wingman, and I had to like take Claude to task because it just pretended that it had written all of these like crypto libraries for things that I wanted to do, and I was like,
Yeah,
and they didn't even exist.
of
It
course I
just
can
lied.
write it. Yeah,
It's
exactly. Yeah, especially
yeah.
Claude, it's great at lying, you know.
Well, it
So
takes
you
after
have
its
to,
founder, maybe.
yeah. The story's over there. Yes.
Yeah. Andy, you
Yeah.
were about to jump in. Let's get you.
Yeah, I was gonna that was like that was a nice segue because I was gonna ask you about like how people think about the craft of code writing like by hands these days. Like do you feel like there's like I imagine a lot of people who come to software engineering have like fully embraced this. Do you still see like a bunch of people who are like still pretty I don't want to say old school, but they like trust their craft more than they trust the tools, if that makes
Uh,
sense. And they're a bit
I think,
reluctant.
yeah, I think if you are a reasonably good programmer, you would always trust yourself more than you would trust the AI, because
Mhm.
these LLMs are extremely confident at you know extremely confident, extremely good at English usage, but extremely dumb. They
Mm.
have a lot of information, but they don't know how to weigh that information, how to use that information, and what are the consequences of taking certain actions. And they're extremely short-term thinking in terms of like no matter how much of a long-running process that you have, they cannot really imagine consequences beyond their immediate problem. So even if it takes like 2 hours to think um, and and it comes up with something, but it's still a very small set of a problem, a small part of the problem. It cannot have a good understanding of the whole picture of the system. So yeah, like you can use it for some things. It's a very good tool for certain things. It has made a lot of things very easy, and it. But if you're writing production code, you should not use it at all. Like, like, in fact, there was a study done where they tried to use uh, LLMs for a very specific part of a code base in a production code, and they're like, oh, we are going to only use it within this definition of problems. right? Say maybe documentation, right? For example, or some comments or certain very low level stuff like just CSS, for example. Nobody likes CSS. So, and in the end, um, as you kept using it just for that defined problem, it overtook the entire code base, entire part of that code base, and that part of the code base was absolutely unrecognizable, unmaintainable without the LLM. And so you would have to use LLM to maintain that part of the code base. So if you ever want to maintain a code base by yourself, or have some understanding of what's happening, some mental picture of what's happening within your system, you probably should not use LLM for that.
I'm always a bit. I don't know if I trust those sort of studies a lot of the time. So I think
Yeah,
often what they do is they just sort of like YOLO a bunch of changes in
yeah.
without really being in the loop. So I,
No,
I, I would say that it's definitely true. Like if you just get the machine to go build the machine with no right human input, it goes
yeah,
off and it's
yeah,
almost impossible. I also
yeah,
feel like I never get what I actually want. But I do find because I use this all the time for like everything now. As
yeah,
long
yeah,
as I'm involved in the process,
yeah,
I kind of know exactly what's happening. I know like where it's making the changes, but it's you can't do it as hands off as I think Twitter would have you believe that you just go, oh, I just said build this feature and it built the feature and it's perfect. It's like nah,
yeah. As far
it
as
goes off.
yeah, as far as Dario is considered, coding is largely solved. It's a very easy problem, you know. But I don't know, man. Like, I'm not a good programmer, but like, I don't see it solving my problems at all. And I
That's
am
fair.
certainly not that
Yeah,
like I cannot evaluate very good production code. For example, if
yeah.
it is good for production or not, like the nuances, the small little details that make a production code stable, right? And avoid the foot guns and things like that.
Hmm.
But like those things are impossible for the LLM to figure out.
Hmm.
I don't know. Like you've been like Pete, you've been using a lot of this stuff for your different projects and things.
Yeah.
Like, are you confident of like putting those out there as production code?
With excessive testing, and like
Right,
by testing, I don't just mean like unit tests and integration tests, but like just
right,
human testing and use as well. Yes.
right. Good.
But you would want to be like I tend to build stuff that I use. So there's a
Right.
very like close feedback loop between like when it does something off script and it changes part of the system. I tend to know about it straight away because this is a system I'm using all day, sort of thing. 'Cause that's particularly building Wingman. So yeah, that would be the main way I would deal with it. But sometimes I will then go back and do reviews on various areas and walk through the code. But I it just doesn't seem to be required these days.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I mean, it might be a different thing, right? I'm not creating. Yeah, I generally advocate to people like don't just assume that you can YOLO like a SaaS company and have like 10 million users because that's 10 million people's data that you need to deal with. So you would have to like really think through what you're doing there. Like, but for stuff that you do for yourself and for your own business and stuff, and it's not widely available to everybody else. Like, I think a lot of that stuff is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like you've got to like balance the risks that surface against the speed. It's like the speed is really useful for like getting something that's testable with one
Yeah.
or two people. It's like you can cross that like MVP process down into like hours and
Yeah.
like remove all the capital constraints that used to exist in there. But yeah, if
Mm.
you've got like a bunch of customers using it, now you've just got like all sorts of risks seeded into whatever you've built. So it's
Yeah.
probably not ready for that level. But it does make me feel like it's super valuable at that MVP stage. Because like if you think about it, the risk was never like or the constraint was never really the code per se. It was like the capital to go and deploy like write the code, deploy the code, and then throw it at like
Mm.
potential users with like no real prospect of success because you didn't know.
Yeah.
And so like you would have to take expensive bets, and now the bet's cheap. And I feel like that's good. That's probably where I would that's where the confidence like probably ends for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know this is like an area that Gigi talked about a bunch of sovereign engineering, say that like there's just so many things that need to exist that don't exist.
Hmm.
And he's always banging on about obviously Viveki and the
Yep.
dialectic process and various different things. And part of that is that you just until you kind of start creating the thing or doing the thing or talking about the thing, you're kind of wrong. It's only in the doing of the thing
Yep.
that you actually figure out what is correct. So what I do like here is that it gives you that opportunity to get going very, very, very quickly with like
Exactly.
minimal barriers to entry. And like the amount of like ideas I've been like, I've got this amazing idea, how do I do it? And it's like, right, I need to go and convince 5 other people that are already doing something different that this is good. And it's like that could take you a year.
Yeah.
Like, you can't even
Yeah.
get it out of your head. Like
Yeah.
just the ability to work as one person and go and just literally magic spell something into existence by saying these magic words at a computer. It's kind of it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Was the
And
personal conviction, but also like now you've got a proof point. Like if you do need to go and scale that team, it's like, oh yeah, I've already like vibed an MVP.
yeah, you
and
have
we've
an
got,
MVP,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
people can see it, people can touch it, and like, oh, I see. Like this is the great thing about the LLMs. Like this is why I say it's a tool. Like, and should we use it as a tool? Like coding is not solved, but like it's a great fucking tool, right? And if you use it for that, it's amazing. It's incredible technology, right? And like a lot of stuff, especially like in open source development and freedom tech stuff, like there are barely any people working on this stuff on like shoestring budget, like barely managing to do anything. And you give them this kind of a power, now they are like 10x useful. They can produce so much more, and produce in the sense that they're usually good programmers, right? Otherwise, because it's a pure meritocracy. Like if you're an open source project contributor, like your commit has to be, your PR has to be of a certain level. You have to follow the guidelines and all of those things, and it's an open process, right? Anybody can, and it's an open public dialogue, and so people can just there's a consequence to being stupid in public. And so usually people are like think
There's not
10
enough of a consequence to
yeah.
being stupid in public, but
Yeah. So usually people, think 10 times before they submit a PR, right? And review and vet and stuff like. But now that, so now that these highly capable programmers get this kind of a tool, they can, experiment on a daily basis all the different ideas that they had. And also, not just that, also learn about stuff, right? It's a great tool for learning on stuff that I have absolutely no idea about, right? So I have no idea about mobile development, but I can very easily, within a week, figure out how to do mobile development, figure out how to make an app. And now that we have Zapstore, like create an app for myself, for my use case. Say, for example, I want scheduled posting for Nostr. And I would like to just, whenever I'm there, I record it on my phone. It goes through my pipeline, my pipeline, and then I get my transcript. I get my, draft note, and I save it and I edit it whenever I get time. And then I just say like on this date, on this time, publish it under this handle. And then it does that. Like now that's a very specific app that I want for myself. I can just test it out and I can build it and I can have it on my phone, even though I don't know about mobile development. This is great. Same for other things.
yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you see people using it in the sovereign engineering cohorts then? Like, I think there were some comments in recent No Solution episodes where Gigi's talked about like Marty Malmy just constantly wandering around with his laptop open,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
building out like Nostr VPN and all that. It's
Yeah.
excellent.
I think everybody has their own process and their own workflow and how they're using it. A lot of people like Gigi, for example, is just like using his Vibeline, like have it set up, does a record on his phone. It goes through his Vibeline, gets it transcripted, sent it to his agent does stuff, right? So that's Gigi's process. Whereas I'm a bit more hands-on, Marty is a bit more hands-on. Like we work more on our terminals, and like Jesus, for example, is again the same way. Um, I think we're still kind of in a very uh, in the phase of discovery when it comes to how to use these technologies properly. And there are so many new tools, and like 2 months back it was about models, now it's about harnesses, and now it's about a few other things. In between it was about skills, and then like your Claude.md, then people figured out Claude.md is actually making it worse. Like we're all just in a discovery phase right now, and figuring
Yeah.
out what works. And most people are just sticking to what was working like 6 months back, because it is a lot of it's a lot of bandwidth required to shift your workflow and your systems again and again and again and again on the new things.
Yeah, I think particularly as well, like
Yeah,
because I was coming at this as a more product first as opposed to developer first. So it to me it almost feels very similar to how I was working anyway, right? I used to like just like Gigi, I would I
yeah,
would spout for 5 minutes into a particular agent. It's just that agent might have been human, uh,
right.
and then
Yeah,
often just told me to piss off or whatever, and didn't do any of the work that I actually asked for. Whereas
yeah,
now I just talk to the agent and then we figure out, okay, well, what's the design that we're going to do? What are the various touch points and trade offs that we need to make in this feature? And then once we've got to that point of understanding, then we say, okay, well, you're going to go away and implement it, and I'll test it when you're done. And so, like, a lot of it feels very, to me, that feels like very natural because that's how I was working with human teams anyway, because I wasn't writing any of the code. And then it's what changed massively was just the iteration time. Like it went from like 2 weeks to like 2 minutes, and you're like, oh
right.
shit, this is. And so all the work became. What was then hard for me to adjust was like, all right, I would used to have like a broad view of all this work that would go on over this extended period of time, and I'd have time to adjust to it. Whereas now I kind of need to have like a bunch of plates that I'm spinning in a moment and then constantly testing it. And then if I'm not in that headspace,
Hmm.
like you could like if I send off a task just into the ether to go and do something,
Yeah,
unless I test it and close that loop, it's like I don't even know that work's been done. Like
yeah,
what was going on. So keeping on top of it was probably the bigger issue for me. But like the workflow felt natural. But I imagine if you're already quite quick at just making those changes directly, it
yeah,
would be really annoying to let the agent into that code base because you're like, if I let him in, he's gonna fucking move everything and be a
yeah,
prick about it.
yeah. And like I think mostly it's about like this is working for me. I am very comfortable with my terminal. I'll just keep using it. And
Hmm.
also I think the whole euphoria of these LLMs is also kind of wearing off, because we thought it would reduce our work and make our work autonomous, and we would have more time to touch grass, and it's
Hmm.
exactly the opposite, because the slot machine is just too addictive. um, and people just are tired. Like I don't want to look at my screen. I don't want to prompt anymore. I want to just like, this is my 2 hours of work. I'm gonna work for 2 hours. I'm gonna take a break, and then I'll
Hmm.
come back, and then I'll do my stuff. I will not let the other parts of my life get infiltrated by this dopamine machine.
Yeah.
It's a big, big problem, and like I think I'm definitely feeling, you know, uh, I'm definitely tired. Like I need a break, like because the last 6 months, 12 months now, almost 10 months, like it's been a constant barrage of like new technology, new model, new project, new idea. Like my old ideas, like trying to get them, and then getting disappointed because like it never really gets anything really well done.
Hmm.
So it's like let's tone down our expectations and like come back to reality, and like just deal with it as we should deal with any new technology. It has a long way to go. It has great potential. But I think we are in the first euphoric phase, which are now kind of going down. Yeah,
I suspect we may be about to hit a bubble.
yeah,
I think me and Andy talked about this one last week where no, James Checkmatey, if you know him from
yeah,
Bitcoin space, he was
yeah,
he mentioned this recently where he's saying like, look, if you're about to go public with Anthropic and potentially OpenAI at once, and traditionally businesses that go public, well, I mean, traditionally it's not happened before, but a business going public at $1 trillion is not necessarily a business that's then going to just run straight to $10 trillion. It's usually a case of like, okay, we've done so many private rounds of investment here, and we've milked everything we can out of this. We kind of want to rush, into the public markets now, so that we can dump on all of you plebs while
I
this is a
mean,
hot technology. And
I
I
mean,
wonder if we're going to hit a bit of a top of the bubble there.
I mean, IPO is, it should be known by now that it's exit liquidity. Like
Yeah.
all the early investors need their money back, and okay, so how are we gonna get the money back? Because there's no other private investor who's willing to give it. So now and I don't know if you heard it. They changed the rules again. By the way, they keep changing
Mm.
rules. Uh, to to basically force passive investors like pension funds and 401ks and all the others to automatically invest and buy out these stocks from so every what are they called, and Nasdaq and others, these and the top 100 and S&P 500 and stuff,
Mm.
they used to have a waiting period for every new stock that got listed to stabilize, to see if it is legit, to
Mm.
see its performance, like 3 months, 12 months, or something like that. They reduced it to 15 days and 10 days and 5 days. Like, so now after 15 days. 401k has to automatically buy Anthropic, OpenAI, SpaceX, or whatever. Like, so, like, it's it's evident,
It's a
what's
scam.
happening. Yeah, what's happening? Like,
I
it's yeah,
I think about this, or I will like on the weekend sometimes hate listen to the All In podcast, and I feel like there's just a constant shilling of their own stocks to be like, oh, the government should just buy all the stuff that I own.
yeah,
That's the correct thing to do. Is the government should just buy like
yeah,
$10 trillion of this thing that I already own. That's
yeah,
fair for everybody if the government does that. And you're like,
yeah,
I maybe not. Maybe just keep them out of
yeah.
it.
Yeah, it's kind of a good thing. We need to clean off. Sorry for all the public people and all the pension funds that are gonna get wiped out because of this stuff.
Hmm.
You should probably not have it. We've been talking about, like, just why are you doing this? Like, there's Bitcoin and just do that. Like, be happy. But if you're still in that, like, sorry about that. But like, we need some cleaning up of this bullshit narrative that's going
Hmm.
on around, and this whole extreme hype media, and just get back to earth a bit and actually build
Yeah.
and do the work.
Yeah, I suspect we might be close to that.
Yeah,
I feel like that if they IPO and they just go mad, then who knows? I mean, and that's not to say that I don't think that this is like really useful tech. As I said, I use it all the time.
yeah,
I wouldn't think it's going to go anywhere, but you could see in the same way that the internet was useful, fiber optic
yes,
cables that were laid
exactly,
were useful, but it's still a lot of those companies went out of business
exactly.
that put all of that infrastructure down. So,
And I think this is what happens to the first wave of investors and stuff,
hmm.
for any new materially, advanced technology uh, that improves society at this kind of a scale. Though I think AI is a little different, but I think it's a
Hmm.
good thing because all this mal investment that is going into these two, three, four companies, instead it would go to the wider, AI research people and programmers working on different projects and different things, and
Yeah,
we might actually, solve a lot of problems of this first generation of LLM models, right? We probably
yeah.
need a few iterations to get to really good models
Yeah, I
or
could
system.
certainly imagine. Sorry, were you about to jump in, Andy?
No,
Okay. So I could certainly imagine that like there's a bunch of like just efficiency work that never got done, right? Like
Yeah.
it's a lot of, most of the tasks that I do, in all honesty, I could do on GPT 4 O
Yeah.
mini, like I don't know, from
Yeah.
like a year and a half ago, or like
Yeah.
early models, or like Sonnet 3.5 was good enough for almost everything
Yeah.
that I do. And you sort of think, well, where's all the more like hyper efficient smaller models that I could be using and
Exactly.
routing between, and like how could I how could I use those? How could we speed up the inference time so I'm getting like 10 requests for every one, so the speed turnover is a lot better, and like all of these things would make it seem like they were getting more efficient, but like currently everyone I know just like puts a subscription on and just YOLOs into the whatever the the
I mean,
best model is that
yeah, everybody's milking the subsidization era, right? So it's that's why nobody's really being forced to actually optimize stuff. And like last year, we were having conversation during SECO 5 that, oh, we are actually going to have these specialized models which will run on locally on your device, where you would run five different models for five specific things. Like you would have one for commits, one for PRs, one for your local shell and bash stuff, one for networking stuff, one for Rust code, one for Python programming. And like uh, we didn't really get those, did we?
Yeah, and it's weird, right? Because I must have made Anthropic spend a few grand on just answering bash commands.
Yeah, yeah.
and,
Like, are you
and like
serious?
how to manage something and get. It's like, how do I rebase this again? I'm not going to look. Like,
Yeah,
do
yeah,
it.
exactly. Right? It's like a Git model. Like, and a Git model should not be more than 1 million parameter. I guess I don't know. I don't know how that thing works. How big it would be, but like it should be tiny as fuck. It's like a
It,
model
it
for
should
every
certainly
single thing.
be.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can imagine, like, but that's hard to like do the work to create and tune those things constantly. So I
yeah,
can sort of like you almost want the somebody to come up with a machine, maybe like Karpathy's auto research sort of
right.
stuff that he put out, where if you had something like that that you could just use to train all of these models locally for yourself for whatever tasks it is you do,
Yeah,
and then they just sit locally on the machine. But
I
yeah, there
uh,
should be a lot more.
I suspect this is again going to come back to open source developers with very limited
Mm.
resources, because they just are extremely motivated to make do with more and solving more problems with less resources. And they will end up tuning and fine tuning and creating these models for their own use case. uh,
Yeah,
and it will only probably happen after, like, some of it is already happening. Like we already have some really good local models that we can run on our
yeah.
local systems, which is really awesome, and they're pretty capable for most of things. Um, and but I suspect, like, in the next year or two, we will end up getting a lot of these one or two models,
Yeah,
1 or 2 million parameter dedicated models for dedicated tools and systems and things.
I kind of
I could
wonder
see that.
if the if the subsidy ending is actually like the bigger thing to watch for rather than like the financial markets. Like because you made a really interesting point about the big 401k superannuation funds, we call them here in Australia, and like our contributions in Australia to superannuation are mandatory, right?
Yeah,
So that liquidity is always there, and then they are also forced to buy these. Like even if they just index those buyers, they're buying the index. So by
yeah,
extension, they're buying that company. And so,
yeah,
like, to some degree, I almost wonder if we just continue to see it melt up. Because, like, in the past, you would rely
Mm.
on retail directly to go and, like, make those purchases, and then retail runs out of money eventually, right? And that's when you start to see that financial bubble aspect burst. But I wonder if, like, the token subsidy is the part, because, like, once you then list publicly as well, all of the unit economics change for the model provider, and they're like, okay, we need to like maximize margin now. We can't carry these uses, so they start to shift to like essentially metered access to kind of juice their margins and make the unit economics much more attractive for public markets. So I kind of wonder if that's the thing that forces everyone to go, oh shit, like we need to like rethink how we're using these models and where we use them and
I
what we use them on.
I think you saw that with the Anthropic Fable news like over the weekend,
Yeah,
where it's one of the first pushbacks that everybody came out was like, all right, well, we got a new Kimi K 2.7 and GLM
yeah,
5.2, whatever it
true.
is,
Yeah,
models this weekend. So fuck you.
yeah.
Let's get.
Yeah.
I was eyeing up the Framework desktop website, looking at it, going,
Yeah,
probably not worth it.
I
But
don't think, yeah, I don't think that's going to work. I like both of these companies, like OpenAI and Anthropic, as like the thing is, because they got so much money, and this is the thing about mal investments, right? Like optimization just goes out of the window when you keep throwing money at stuff, and people are willing to give money, as much money as you want. You forget about that. We should probably be measured and use it well, you know.
Yeah.
And so right now the way we have is like just throw the entire, like it's a brute force approach to models that we have, these OpenAI and Anthropic, the way they are doing it, and they don't have an incentive to optimize their costs, their training costs and stuff like that. And people are willing to like the investors, or the capital is allowing them to give subsidies, and people are like, okay, I have my subsidy, so like, I don't have to do anything, and I will not use other models. The subsidies are ending. Like Copilot is doing it in between. Anthropic had issues, it scaled down the limits, and it gave the Chinese models and the other open weight models enough time to also catch up to that. So today you have the situation where, like if you're using Kimike 2.6 or 2.5 was already so good that it was comparable to say Opus 4.5, right, which was 4 months ago. And so the difference between these frontier models and these other open weight models is not too far behind, right? And so unless you want to actually give these LLMs all the work, when if you are not a programmer, then maybe you need to use the frontier models and you can get some decent enough results. But if you're a programmer, you don't really need to use, and you know your craft, and you have made sure that you're still skilled, and you did not outsource your thinking. Uh, you can very well get by with the smaller models, the open weight models, and you don't need to use them. Why should I pay their token costs, like their API rates? Makes no sense. I don't think they're
yep.
going to survive.
Yeah, I mean, I know personally the biggest thing that I found for getting good results out of these models wasn't necessarily going to the biggest best models. I mean, it helps, but it's just more
Yeah,
expensive. But I can get similar just sort of output by breaking down tasks into smaller components and then just
exactly.
running more jobs on those. And like
Yeah,
when the difference of running something in like some of these GLM models might be like 100 times cheaper than running it in Claude, and you're like, well, like I can, that's fine. I can run like 10 times in GLM and still
yeah,
be up,
yeah,
sort of thing. But it's just it's a bit more work, so it's harder for people to do because you can't just like one shot build me a blah 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 blah. Which
yeah,
like I swear that like these guys must have gone through Twitter, looked at all the one shot prompts that people use to test these things on the first day, and then trained specifically for those. Like, all right, this is how we do it.
yeah.
But
So yeah, I mean, like I don't know. It's just we're just waiting. Like when this whole thing just blows over. Uh,
I mean, I think to Andy's point, I reckon it's. I think you might be right. I think it's more likely to be instead of a stock market sort of bubble top, maybe it is more of a just okay. They go into the public markets, they have to look for profit all of a sudden, and then that's the point at which they turn off the subsidies. People get forced more onto API billing, which we'd already seen a lot from Claude recently.
yeah,
And then that, I think as soon as you turn on API billing, I think everyone's going to go. It's
yeah,
not, it's like, it might be like a marginally better product for a lot of people, but it's a marginally better product when you're spending $200 a month. It's not a marginally better product when you're spending like 50 grand a month. I would just
yeah,
go and get the other one. They're fine.
Mm.
yeah.
And then spend more time actually putting it together. But
Yeah, a very good example of this is Uber. Uber went all in on AI usage, like
mm,
maximize your token usage. They told their entire developer team. Their year's budget they finished in 4 months, right? The
yeah,
first quarter. And they're like, what did we actually ship? They finally asked this question, like, okay, we spend all of this money in 4 months instead of 12. What did we actually ship? What did we solve? Nothing.
it's such a
Absolutely
ridiculous
nothing,
metric. Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And then they're like, oh, what the hell? It's actually not useful. Okay, now you can use it. This is your limit. You cannot use more than $1,500. And the lesser you use, the better for you.
mm,
This is how they've changed their KPIs. And so, like, imagine like 90% of uh, Anthropic's revenue is API billing.
mm,
And Uber, who went all in, one of the leaders in AI adoption, is now changing the tunes, and all the others are finding out for themselves, as they should. And they're all changing it. So from maximize token usage to minimize token usage, when you
mm.
completely do this U-turn, what happens to Anthropic's revenue and business, like, and at the rates that they demand? Doesn't really
Yeah.
work. The economics doesn't work out.
I mean, I think it's certainly fair to say at the moment that for all of the like, so coding's been solved for a year, more or less now, right? Or 9 months or so, maybe.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it doesn't seem to show up in any of the data. Like it doesn't even. Interestingly, there's a good Primogen video on this recently where he went through like the bug that was raised like week 2 of Claude Code coming out about how the terminal 2e flickers.
Oh yeah, yeah,
It,
yeah,
it still flickers
yeah,
like now, like after coding's been solved for
yeah,
like 9 months, they still haven't managed to fix the flicker on their own
yeah.
terminal UI, and you're just like, come on, guys, this is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
All it has done is increased work,
Hmm.
increased review work, and increased people's. It has reduced people's ability to actually code, and it has increased people's ability, people's requirement to review code, and just made people more stressed
Hmm.
out and more tired. Uh,
Well, yeah, more code was never necessarily the answer, right? It
yeah,
was just what you needed was, I don't know, maybe better products, maybe more niche products, maybe specific products for specific reasons, or highly personalized code.
yeah,
That sort of stuff I can sort of buy that there's productivity improvements there, but
yeah.
like it doesn't, like I still, as I said earlier, like I still think that this doesn't really work without me being there.
Yeah.
So at some level, you still need the people. So you're not just going to offload all of your people. I mean,
Yeah,
certainly people are doing that, but I think there's
yeah,
probably other reasons why.
yeah.
But yeah, like it hasn't shown up in the economic data to my eye yet. That like, if this is so great, why hasn't it shown up? And then I have to reconcile that internally to go, but it's really useful for me. So why isn't it showing up? Is everybody just like doing
It's
it
just
wrong? Am I doing it wrong? What's going on?
no, it's just like a tool, right? If you
Yeah.
use the tool for the right purpose, like you will find it useful,
Mm,
right? But if you just misrepresent the tool and say like, oh, this is the ultimate tool, this is the tool for everybody, this is the tool that is going to, wipe out 50% of the
mm,
jobs. I'm like, sorry, what did you say? Like, no,
yeah.
it didn't solve programming, you know. It's not good for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
And
yeah,
I mean, just even the idea that you're going to wipe out all the jobs, it's like, well, I just don't think so. That just implies that we've fixed all problems in humanity, right? Like
yeah,
there's still plenty of stuff to do. It doesn't appear that we've fixed everything and they're just
yeah,
living in a massive utopia. So I reckon we'll
yeah.
be all right. Have something to do.
Yeah, I think
It was
we're gonna be all right. Yeah.
What's interesting though is like I think there's something that you both surfaced around like how you interact with these
Mm,
models, which is like it's the judgment piece. It's like you want to still be working alongside this to just make sure that you're not losing that judgment, that domain expertise. You still want to be in charge, right? And I feel like this has always happened. Like a business is like a great proxy for effectiveness, right? You can get groups of people together, some do really well and get outsized returns, and some fail. And that's like, like the people in that situation are essentially instruments for a business as a collective to come together and pursue an objective. In the same way you might work with a bunch of different agents to go and pursue an objective. And like sometimes that energy can be misdirected or misspent, misused, and you don't get the objective, you just fail. So I feel like the proxy's always been there. But what's interesting now is I feel like the makeup of the people around the tooling is probably something that might shift, even if it doesn't go and like remove all of the jobs. Like we always like float to these binaries. It's like, no, all of the jobs will stay, or no, all of the jobs will go. And I think it's like, well, jobs just change, and they always have, because we start to like place a value on like the bits of the chain that actually help us hit that objective, or give us like a greater propensity to actually hit that objective. I don't think that changes. That just the job types get revalued.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the point, right? The purpose of the job was to provide value. So if like, let's say coding is solved, then just writing syntax isn't valuable anymore. Figuring out like what to focus on is valuable, and certainly it's very easy to build the wrong thing for months at a time, as I'm sure we've all done at various points. Like it's just, you can focus on ideas that don't work. You can use tech that just doesn't work. You can, like, I mean, we talked about fucking spiders at sovereign engineering. It was like, it's very easy to fuck a spider because it's feels good because you're scratching your own itch in a way, but it's not useful to anybody else. So it's probably not the thing to do. But I think, and from like a technical point of view, like if you could now solve all of your technical problems that you could, it's easy to just focus on that and not go talk to people and figure out what you actually need. But
Yeah.
I
think if we just recalibrate, to what these tools are, how to use them, and if we just within those constraints we use them, they're great tools. I don't think they really take any jobs as such. Like if you look at these chatbots, like everybody hates them in customer care. Nobody wants to deal with them. They're not even taking those jobs. Like how are they going to take coding jobs? Like I don't see how. And if you just use them, like this is what we're going to explore at the next SEC. Like after the high of last year, like today, let's be a bit more measured and still use them. They're amazing tools and build awesome stuff. And just like this is this is experimentation, right? And after that, we're going to sit and we're going to build it properly by hand, and we use them as tools to improve certain aspects of it, to use to figure certain aspects out. But otherwise, I have this idea, I want to build this stuff. Like if you're building a dashboard, you don't need this stuff. But like a lot of open source stuff don't have dashboard because like who's gonna deal with CSS, for example? Like nobody wants to deal with CSS. It's a great tool for that. And now everything can be pretty and everything can be visual. You don't have to bash some commands into your terminal. So it's great for this stuff. It's great for experimenting, like especially like if you're working on a client or things like that. You can totally use this to build a really cool client, to use Nostr in a completely different way that you have not thought of before.
I mean, I think one of the things that's worth just mentioning is that like most software engineering that gets done in the world is kind of like mid software engineering. So like it's like, I think often we'll talk about how these things could never replace coding, and it's like, yeah, it won't replace all the stuff and it won't replace the hard stuff that we need to do right now.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of like very, very good, well-respected like programmers that are very deep in this, trying it out and using it in ways to get a lot of value out of it. Like, like Mitchell Hashimoto talks about it quite a lot. He's got, he can be down on it. He can be very positive on it. He's just spending a lot of money to figure out where it works. I think it is true that it's not clear exactly what place it plays for everybody. And I think everybody uses it different. So I think you almost always use it to substitute a skill that you don't have.
Yeah.
Like I remember talking to like Hazard the last cohort, and we mentioned if he used it or not, and he went, no, I don't use it because I don't want it to write any of the library code and stuff that I care about. That'd be ridiculous. And then I said, oh, so you don't use it at all? You just get rid of it? And it's like, oh no, I use it every day, like because I'll go and then generate like 20 examples of the thing
Yeah.
using my library code. It's like, okay, yeah, so you've got the stuff that you care about and where you want to focus, and then there's like, okay, now shit out 20 examples so other people can understand it, because I don't want to have to deal with that part of the situation. Or like, you see a lot of people that like writing might use it to talk to and explore an idea, but they don't
Right.
want to use it to write because they like writing. Like, I see there's a lot of parallels there, I think, with
Yeah.
the way a lot of coders use it, which is like, I'll explore the idea and I'll get myself like 5 prototypes, but then I'll figure out how I want to write it so I understand it, sort of thing. I think a lot of like people's writing behavior is similar there. So
Uh,
I can see this being, you need something kind of flexible, and then you need to build your own like little workflow around it though.
yeah. I mean, you can still build serious stuff like with this if you are really involved in the process, and if you really review everything what they put out and actually change stuff and guide them. For a great example of that is FIPS. FIPS is largely written by Claude, okay, but not written by Claude in the sense that it has written it and nobody's seen it. No, every single line of code is getting reviewed, and all the things are being designed by humans, back and forth between human and Claude and other humans, and like Claude is in between, is one of the members of the development team
Yeah.
instead of the one developing, right? With particular jobs along the way, instead of being off all the work offloaded to these LLMs. So and FIPS is a great project, and I don't think FIPS would exist without LLMs today in the 6 months that it has been since it is published. Not even 6 months, 4 months since it's been published. And it's actually useful and it's being used and it's actively being developed. And there are now, what, 300 or no, 3,000 nodes or 1,300 nodes, something like that, today of FIPS across the world. It,
And
it
then
wouldn't have
just for
existed.
a bit
Yeah.
of exposition for the both people in the audience would be that FIPS is like a peer-to-peer internet architecture. So instead of using DNS as a lookup service, you actually, I don't know exactly how it's built this time, because I think it's moved on from what I saw Ian working on previously, right? But
Yeah. Yeah.
so did they
In
publish
SECO5,
like the relays or what?
yeah. So in SECO5, it was just an idea
Mhm.
where, like it was a requirement for tollgate because, IPs are a big problem. If you want to have a free internet and a non-hierarchical internet, permissionless internet connections between peers, you are always limited by IPs, and that's a forever constraint.
Yeah.
And the idea was we should have a, since we have Nostr identities, we should be able to route to a Nostr identity, and every device can have a Nostr identity, and we could do it peer to peer. And this was just like a very fancy idea, like a wishful thinking that we used to have, that we might one day have something like this. And then Jonathan and Aryan met during November last year in Costa Rica, and they started having a chat. And Jonathan, being the dude that he is like, okay, let me think about this problem. I think I know how to
Yeah.
solve it. And he sat there for 2 months and worked on the problem, thought deeply with himself and with Claude, and figured out, okay, and then gave us the alpha, like, oh, guys, I was just been working on this stuff, and here's, something you can play with. And now, and he basically wrote this with Claude, and it's not using uh, IPs in the sense that it is required. In fact, it can use, well, it is using IPv6, right? But it is doing a very neat trick where Nostr identities automatically convert to IPv6, and devices can identify each other, connect to each other, And now it was not even using Nostr relays for discovery. Now that is all being added to it, like as different pieces. So it has definitely changed in architecture and how it is working today. But it's
Okay,
great.
I'll have to dig into it at some point.
Yeah, yeah,
I just need to find the time.
yeah,
As I say, I feel like you've only got like I almost feel like there's two things you can pay attention to, and then if you try any more than that, everything goes wrong. And so,
yeah,
like, you've got to, as much as it feels like you can just do everything with these tools, like you can't. You just do bad jobs at everything, but you can do two things correctly. So you've
yeah,
got to pick every day where you're going
yeah,
to focus.
for
Yeah.
sure.
So how? So
Yeah,
you've got YOLO is coming up in like a month and a half, right? It'd be August time. You kick off.
yeah. About a month and 5 days. It starts on the 20th of July.
Yep.
Yeah, for six
And you've
weeks.
and you've got your t-shirt competition is ending at the moment.
Yeah.
Are we any insights on who's going to be winning the t-shirt competition? It looks awesome. Like it's almost worth coming over to get one. But
Yeah. It's gonna be an incredible t-shirt, and I think the fan favorite is already kind of decided. Everybody kind of knows which one is going to be the winner. It's a very distinctive design, but we've
it's not the one with the
had
Kraken with the bottles of rum and stuff, is it? Oh, I quite
oh
like
well, I guess it is not as obvious, but
that. So it's not
which
that one.
means that we had some really good designs. Like
Yeah.
it has been actually hard, and to actually get through all of them, see which one actually is awesome. But there's one design I think a lot of people would agree on that is like so clean, so nice, so neat. And it is ending today, so I think in a couple of days, I mean, if you're still listening and if you still want to put an entry, you can put it
This
until,
goes out on Thursday, so it'll be
yeah.
too late.
Okay.
They'll have to go check
Well,
which one won, and then go and sign up for sovereign
right.
engineering so that they can join the cohort and get one.
Oh, well, that for sure. Like, and only if you come to the cohort, you get the t-shirt. That's something that we've always maintained. But yeah, by Thursday, if you're listening, you will see which design has already won.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
All right. And so, what's the plan with AI then for YOLO plus plus? You're just going to figure out. Are you trying to like push it, or are you trying to figure out how to make it work in real life? Like,
I
what's your
think we've
goal?
been doing pretty well so far, despite all the hype. We've pushed out at Sovereign Engineering. We've used uh, AI and LLMs to pretty good use, and I don't think we're going to change much
Hmm.
because at the end of the day, if it is not producing results for us, and if we are not pushing out good code, and it's not solving problems for us, uh, we don't use it, you know. And if we're still using it, we're using it for specific things. Everybody uses it for, and that's kind of, I think, like one reason why it has been like this is because what we do at every cohort is, and usually ends up happening in the first week, is like everybody on Tuesday or Wednesday, usually on Wednesday, on the first week, is basically talking about their AI setup, their workflow, and what they're using, what they found useful, what they found that does not work. And this cross-pollination and sharing of ideas and workflows has really helped everybody kind of work through and in using how to use them properly and share systems with each other. And that's why we've found it that it's been helpful for us.
It's interesting because I know I took my first version of like Wingman to sovereign engineering last year, and
Yeah,
I think it wasn't like a few people like, oh, I'll try and install this, and I was like, you know what, I've never given any thought to how somebody else would install this.
yeah,
It's like, whereas now
yeah,
I'm on like the fourth version of Wingman.
beautiful.
It's about five separate apps at the moment. There's like
Yeah,
graph memories, there's Postgres backups. It does full app deployments. It's got like a full almost
beautiful.
like replit type mode. It does. Oh, there's so much going on. I've got like a full like almost Discord style interface for managing it if you
Amazing.
don't want to get in the sessions, and it's just like now I'm like, oh yeah, this would work for people these days, and then I
Well,
might
I
have
should
to
probably,
send I mean, I'll
Yeah.
send you the repo and we can go
Yes,
spin one
please
up for
share the
yourself.
repo. I'll check it out and we'll test it out at the next cohort.
Well, I took that step of just Dockerizing everything now, so I can just run a script and go build me my wingman infrastructure, and it'll go and
Yeah.
set it all up for you. And then you just need to. There's a few bits I'm still doing now about how you dial in some of the like connections between different parts of the app, so that it runs like it has all the. You know how Paul did the whole Hypernote OS type thing. We had the declarative apps.
Yeah.
I took a similar type of style. So I do a lot of workflows in AI because I think this is the best way to get stuff done. So I built like a declarative workflow system inside Wingman. So I can just describe in like natural language, right? Okay, we've got like 5 steps we're going to take. Step 1, we're going to process this data. And this is like just straight code. Like just process this data, throw all that stuff out, go get this stuff, go look over here, get that, pull it all together. And then you have an agent session and the agent's got a specific task and it runs and then it outputs something. And then we go back into code and then we have another agent and then we loop for a while. And we can just like say all this into the LLM. It builds like this declarative pipeline and then it can run. And then you can just edit it as you go and like it's pretty powerful for a lot of this sort of stuff. So
Awesome. I should probably check this out. It has really grown.
You've just got to figure out yourself how to make it run. Like, I haven't
No,
documented anything.
I don't have to figure that out. My clanker will figure it out for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, how do you run?
Yeah. How do you run? Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nice.
What do you
All right.
use, Andy, LLMs and AI for?
I mean, it's like I'm running out of Wingman predominantly now, so Pete's got me nice and set up. I mean, I
Nice.
like to play though. Like I will still jump in and test everything that like Anthropic releases. I mean, mostly it's been GPT 5.5. I mean, like I think the last couple of models from Anthropic have just been like pretty dead. Like I've not given them more than like a half hour's use because I just felt like they were steps backward. Which I don't know if people agree with or not, but I've just not found them useful. And then Fable, I think Pete made this point last week, or maybe it was like offline, but he made this point that it just felt like it was just running longer loops. And so it was like token usage was like way more than previous models. So it felt like this kind of step change improvement. But I feel like if you'd just been using like Opus 4.8, even 4.7, like they were so dead that it probably felt like a massive improvement. But using GPT 5.5, I feel like it wasn't that big an improvement. So, but again, I didn't get too much time to play with it before they pulled it, so I couldn't tell you too much.
Right.
It
But
just
yeah, a bit
feels
of a
like
spread
all
of everything.
marketing.
Yeah.
Feels like a
Yeah.
marketing play.
Yeah, it's always
More
just
than anything.
marketing.
But,
Yeah.
all right. So are you looking forward to the next cohort then?
Very much so.
Bit
Yeah.
of that nice sunshine weather, nice poncho on the hill overlooking the ocean.
Yeah. Yeah. You're gonna
Man.
miss it, you know that.
I know. Like
Yeah.
if I goddamn Bitcoin price.
Yeah.
If we pump to $1 million a coin,
Yeah.
maybe I'll come over.
All
This
right.
last minute
All
YOLO in.
Yeah. All right.
All right, man.
Well.
All right. Well, let's leave it there then.